All right, I am calling the village board meeting of December 11th to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Bratton. Trustee Brunner.
Here.
Trustee Borkhardt. Here. Trustee Borplund.
Here.
Trustee Pomakowski.
Here.
Trustee Calvater. Here. President Lang.
Here, stand for a pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the village board on any issue. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes. While the village board encourages input from its residents, it may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. Is there anybody registered to speak under public comment? Do we have anybody on the internet?
Nobody.
All right. We'll go down to ceremonial. Chief, I'll let you run this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for coming. We do have an officer that's running late, so if he's not here, we're just gonna move on and maybe I can catch him at the end.
All right.
So Taylor. And we're gonna invite Grandpa. Okay, we're gonna invite Grandpa here.
All right. Join us.
Mayor Taylor Ferguson, stand up before the podium. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Taylor Ferguson, excuse me,
I, Taylor Fingerson,
having been appointed as a police officer of the Cross Plains Police Department,
have been appointed a police officer of the Cross Plains Police Department,
swear that I will support the constitutions
swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America and the state of Wisconsin,
of the United States of America and the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of my office to the best of my ability.
discharge the duties of my office
To
to
the best
the
of-
best of my ability.
I, Taylor Fingerson,
I, Taylor Fingerson,
swear that I will abide
swear that I will abide
by the code of ethics
by the code of ethics
adopted by the Cross Plains Police Department.
adopted by the Cross Plains Police Department.
On my honor,
On my honor,
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will always have the courage to hold myself
I will always have the courage to hold myself
and others accountable
and others accountable
for our actions.
for our actions.
I will always uphold the Constitution,
I will always uphold the Constitution,
my community,
my community,
and the agency I serve.
and the agency that I serve.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right. I have a. Find my pen. I've signed a copy of the oath, if you would also, and date it. We'll take up the other one later.
Yeah.
I can stick around.
Thank you, Jeff.
Deliver that to the chief. Great.
You gotta have a penny out back.
All right, we will come back when the officer is here. So we're on number 6, consent agenda. Upon request of any trustee, any item may be removed from the consent agenda for separate consideration under general business. Anybody have anything they'd like to have separated? All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve, can I make a motion for both of them?
There is only one.
Only one consent agenda.
Oh, the whole thing, yeah, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda, sorry.
I'll second.
You're kind of throwing me off there, Cameron. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. So moved. Report of village officers, I just have one item, a short one, just to keep you up to date. I just wanted to let you know that, there's a nonprofit that's looking to build an ice rink. In Cross Plains, they're working with the church. To put it on the property would be just east of the football field and west of, County P. Jim Nunn has decided to partner up with that group. So his project is no longer looking to be on village property, but go in with this nonprofit, with the hockey rink over by the church. So I just wanted to, Cameron?
So it's going on private property, but I guess the old plan was that the village would take over for ownership. That's kind of.
No, that is no longer a part of the plan.
Okay.
Alrighty. Vice President. All right, other trustee reports.
A little bit on the same topic, I'll try to give a statement from Jim, just bring it for the board for the next meeting on the rec. Just to close it off.
Okay. Yeah, I heard it from him. I was at a meeting
Yeah.
with the church and this group and Jim.
I've kind of had my committee on hold since I heard,
Okay,
so I think it would be good for.
no, I certainly agree.
So I'll shoot him a note and bring something to January.
Okay, thank you, Doug. All right, anybody else? Village administrator.
Okay, real quick, I completed the notices related to the PFAS settlement for the village to opt out. Those had been mailed out last week, so they will meet the due date deadline. And second, last week I had a meeting with a few DNR staff here in the village office to do a review of some floodplain permit issuances within the village over the last roughly 10 years. So the good conversation, received some good feedback from them on some ideas and some things that we'd like to possibly incorporate into our future village building permits, just to ensure that things are being followed correctly. So more to come on that. I'll get those updates going shortly.
All right, are there any reports from village department heads?
Yeah, I'll say.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry, were you, can I?
No, I was pointing at Bobby.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
She's hiding now behind me.
I just wanna say that the tax bills are in the process of being printed and mailed out, so hopefully, by the end of the week, people should see them. And then we got notified today from the county that is probable that we'll have a February primary election, for school board race.
Huh.
4 elections.
Interesting.
I did get a text from Cody that's not feeling well,
Yeah.
does not pregame after.
No, he called me this and I asked him if he had pancreatitis. He did sound bad. All right, we'll go to general business, discussion, village special event permits.
I think the honest.
Oh.
We want to do that
Oh.
first.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
let's do that then. Thank you, Doug.
Jonathan Weaver.
Jonathan, stand before the podium. Raise your right hand, repeat after me, please. I, Jonathan Weaver.
I, John Weaver,
Having been appointed as a police officer
having been appointed as a police officer
of Village of Cross Plains Police Department,
of the Village of Cross Plains Police Department,
swear that I will support the constitutions
swear that I will support the constitutions
of the United States of America and of the state of Wisconsin,
of the United States of America and the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of my office to the best of my ability.
discharge the duties of my office to the best of my ability.
I, Jonathan Weaver,
I, Jonathan Weaver,
swear that I will abide by the code of ethics
adopted by the Cross Plains Police Department. On my honor, I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I'll always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I'll always uphold the Constitution, my community, and the agency I serve. So help me God. All right, I'm gonna sign it, and you sign it, and deliver it to the chief, please. Your signature is worse than mine.
I should have went to med school, I guess.
I'm gonna beg my leave then, Jay.
Yep, I appreciate you, Honor. Congratulations.
Just a quick statement, so Taylor Fingerson is our newest full-time, he will have taken over for Kim Reddy. And then, Mr. Weaver Jonathan has agreed to join us part-time, so he'll be our part-time officer. He's got well over 2 decades of experience with the town of Madison, and so we're happy to have him to help us. He also has a lot of training capabilities, so we're really gonna be able to use him, to help train some of our younger staff. So happy to have him.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to the special event permits discussion. Who's leading this?
I can introduce the topic. So at the beginning of 2023, village staff brought forward the topic of the village special event permit and the corresponding fee. At that time, I brought it to the board's attention that I received a number of requests from the public and organizations to waive the fee associated with special event permits. At that same time, we were just starting to talk about some ideas within the village related to revenue generation. So we, at that time, decided the board to hold off on charging any fees related to any additional special event permits issued for the duration of 2023, pending a discussion at the end of the year where we can revisit and make some adjustments to either the way the permit is currently structured or make some decisions related to whether or not we want to have a universal policy on fee waiving or adjustment in the fee itself. So tonight essentially is just a discussion topic to let us know what you would like the village staff to bring forward for the January board meeting, so we know what we're looking to address and potentially approve.
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I liked bits and pieces of most of these,
That's what Becky and I had, too. Yeah, we like this from this one. and
Right,
this one.
correct.
so, I don't know if this. I don't know the process, I mean, obviously we'll discuss the things we like, and then I don't know, Brian, that means you go off and write something, and then, we talk about it again to approve in January or something, or.
Yeah, my hope was just kind of get a consensus idea of what direction you want us to take it, and then I can put something into and or talk with Becky, and we can get a permit, a new modified permit brought before you to take a look at and see if you agree with those changes and put it into effect for 2024.
Okay. I mean, just for starters, looking at some of them, there's, especially events that require police and stuff are more expensive ones, right? There are
Correct.
plenty of examples through here that, charged kind of different prices, right? So, we could keep it easy. I saw a couple that had like a low, medium, and high cost, and then just, stated like depending on complexity or size of event. There were, I think even the Middleton one, if I remember correctly, had like a you'll be charged $30 to $60 per hour for the officer's time. You know, we could have even something like that as like catch-all. A different one had different pricing for nonprofits versus for profits. I like that. You know, that's been something we had talked about. Those were some of my favorite parts. The Madison one, I guess I'll just call this one out too, did have, I don't know if we want to do this because it just sounds kind of complicated to, I mean, not now because there aren't that many, but to keep track of, but it said that recognized neighborhood and community groups would be granted one annual event with no fee per year. So, you know, that would maybe cover us for some of our, you know, events if they're, you know, only posting a couple a year, they get one free or something. If we increase the prices, maybe that would, you know, make that more appealing. Those are just some of the things I noted that I liked.
For the most part, I agree. I would like it to be as simple as we can have it. I like a nonprofit fee and a for-profit fee, and then I also just think there needs to be a little room for some custom. Really looking at the event and the charges that the village can incur, because things are expensive. You know, so there's a big difference between grabbing 2 barriers and doing a block party. And, doing a big one. I will be on that stuff. I think it's as simple as you can keep it, but also leave some room for some of that customizable stuff that costs money. It'd be great.
Judy?
It's a dumb question, but like the Memorial Day parade, if we were to charge for that, who do we charge? Like that's a community.
I think the American Legions puts that on, aren't they, lead? Is that who gets the permit?
Normally the chamber pulls the permit and
Okay.
puts everything on there. But really, it is 2 separate events, if you think about it, like the parade is the Legion and the pork chicken barbecue. Chamber.
I was curious.
And here's the thing with me, I have no problem, I agree with that, but this is what's gonna happen. The Lions Club is gonna come here out for Trout Day and say, hey, we're bringing in hundreds of people, they're spending money, this is a community event. It brings the community together, you know, we're on a shoestring budget, why do we have to pay this? And like I say, we just have to be willing to hold to it, because we'll get right back on why we started this. Is there was some we were waiving and some that we weren't, and there wasn't really good justification on why. So if we do this, it's gotta be written, and we've got to hold to what the permit is. So when we do this, keep that in mind, that there will be nonprofits and what people feel are doing something for the community that they feel they shouldn't have to pay for. I just want to make sure, and we could probably work that in, that there could be some exemption, but it has to meet A, B, C, D. We can't just go on our feelings when they come here. That's my only comment on this. I like all the varieties. I think we can put something together, but then we got to stick to it, because as soon as we start wavering it, it's going to set aside and we're going to be right back where we were. Because that's what kind of started this. Sarah?
Would it be reasonable to take some of the events that we do annually, or that someone in the community does annually, and kind of practice with those events to see where it would fall, so then it would be.
That was kind of the idea of taking a break, but
Right.
what we were supposed to do is look at an accounting of the cost of the village for all these events for 2023.
Right,
And then we would have an idea.
but that's what I mean, it would be nice to see that, like actually.
I don't know if it was done.
Yeah, do we have that
I
information?
don't.
So we, depending on department, we did have some information, but it wasn't consistent. And our Parks and Rec department, just shortly after we implemented this, completely fell apart with staff. So it was not a good time to really run it.
So how many events a year do you think the village has where this permit would be required?
I think I thought we had 5.
Yeah,
That's not like 5 or 6.
parade.
The wine walk at one time, but I think that merged, so I don't know if it's a separate thing. Huh?
So then you just show up there.
Right, it's the same day, but is it this, I don't know the grouping of
Do
the,
they need a
The
permit?
chamber.
They just walk around, but do they need a permit to do that?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
They need a liquor.
Yeah.
but I don't know that they need a special event.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, like, I'm just telling you the events that we had labeled.
Right.
Well, right,
And that we are,
Like
so what requires a special event?
Iron
I guess that's
Man.
what-
Okay,
you know,
Close one, the Norm Esser walk, good one.
Car show.
oh, yeah.
Our show needs one.
I think anything where you need village resources,
You need
whether
village
that's
resources.
public land or.
Right.
police
So like,
posts
like
or
the memorial
church
run.
needs liquor license, but they don't need a special event.
Well, and they're on their-
Because they're in their,
Right, that was it. Making sure.
but I think this, when the school had their cross-country meet,
Mhm.
then didn't they do a fundraiser, cross-country fundraiser too?
Yeah, and I think what kind of actually brought this to the board level again was the block party
Right,
wanted to be had.
So then-
Understand the need for the.
so with that event, I forget that Cody did that baseball thing that was down here, the mission, Max Mission, would that require one, since that's
They
using?
want-
I,
wait. They didn't shut down any streets or ask for village services.
So would they just be renting a baseball diamond then, is that? a
I
different
think,
thing?
yeah, they might have paid shelter rental fees. Cause they did meet, they probably did have at least 300.
I would think that's a.
I think we were gonna-
Walk this year too. They're gonna walk in the baseball.
I think we were gonna kind of tell them like, hey, you should pull a permit this year.
When we used to do the blue walk. we had
Yeah.
a bullet permit.
Yeah, and Mary's for the
Right.
shelter.
Yeah, that's gonna like.
The turkey
Northwestern-
trot, or turkey something we used to do.
I never did one for Spike Rock because it was all.
Yeah.
and I think the Mutzies thing over at the library did this year too.
Is
if
that
I'm
a
not mistaken.
They pulled it from it,
I think that we did.
oh, cause they're using live.
Because they were using.
Oh, because they were shutting
Street
down the
closure,
street,
yeah.
on Halloween, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a half dozen. Or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I understand like what you're saying, you put the seal, got to stick to it. So if it's a nonprofit and, you know, doing a charge for what's these things to do $50 on Halloween to shut down the street, that's what it's gonna be.
All I'm saying, I'm gonna support what everybody wants, but we gotta do it, or we're just gonna go right back into a because if you don't do it for the library, then why does you have to do it for this one? You know, unless we have rules.
And I don't see the need if you close one street, it's two barriers.
Right.
That's kind of what started it, was a block party had been done at one neighborhood where they kind of let out the barriers and just kind of did it, and then a new block party wanted to do it, and they said. I would like to encourage those types of things, like to have a no fee for a one-time block party or a group party. I think that could be a part of the process.
Part of the permit too is just to like, you know, so Chief Tony's aware or whatever, right? It depends on what, you know, street, you can't have it in the middle of brewery, you know, that'd be a problem.
Right, so that we would want them to do the permit.
Right, and that's what we did in 23, they still had a new permit, we just didn't charge.
Okay,
So we still were notified, we just didn't charge them any, so there was no issue.
So then.
I'd like to have one. Well, I'd like to have neighborhood be able to do that for free, doing the event, so we're over it. Down the street or two block off, if it's not, I think we should encourage that.
I agree. So that's where it gets. So what is the if then structure of?
Well, that's.
If this, then no charge, if this, then charge this, if this, then charge this, so it's just like
and that's,
it keeps adding up then and you.
that's
you
why
know,
I got
Does
to.
it turn into a menu like?
When we talked about this before, that's why, I was kind of like, we should never charge. We should always charge.
And that's-
That's the only fair thing to do, and I'm just, I don't know how. You never charge, because just some events require quite a few resources.
Well, I think you can have tiers, I think a block party that requires a couple barricades is very different than Iron Man
Yes.
coming through a main street and blocking it for almost a day.
When they,
I mean, I think there's tiers we can come up, it's a matter of like everything else, writing it out. So it's. And some people are always gonna say, well, that's not fair, well, okay, fine, but these are the guidelines. And this is how we wanna do it.
But then with that respect, with Ironman shutting down a day, Trout Day shuts down Mill Creek Parkway for a greater part of the day.
Well, I'm not,
Well, one is.
I know one-
Community much more than the other, so.
Well, and I understand it, but how do you? See, it's the.
You put it into your,
you gotta write it down.
Matrix.
Yeah, absolutely.
well,
I mean, ours is not so big, we could list. We could list the events and say if they're waived or whatever. I mean, it's not like we have like Madison where there's, you know, 5, 6 a day going on there, you know. This is pretty
and the
small.
fee should align with the services.
Oh,
So I don't takes much more.
Okay, but so I don't even know, does Iron Man use like a village police officer all day?
No, they hire a sheriff's department. That's why Iron Man's a little different too, because they used to make donations to communities. I don't know if we get that or not, but if you go down there, they hire their own law enforcement. There's a cop, county cop at P in Bourbon. I don't know if it's at KP in Bourbon. I think they just let them because that's a right-hand turn. I don't even know if those are barricades or cones that, you
Yeah,
know, do that line, you know, that lane for them. I don't know.
so is there even like any expense for Iron Man to the village except for the fact that it closes the road
I
there?
thought it was our police officer.
No,
You know?
I think it used to be. I don't,
I know the last 2 years it
It
was a
was
deputy,
definitely.
yeah. And it's just like they used to do that triathlon that came through Airport Road and out P, that was always a Dane County deputy station there.
We can see if it's out.
Those questions should be answered as part of.
I like these applications.
But I think we all agree we still need a permitting process, just so we're aware. Like I say, I personally think it wouldn't be that hard to list the events and then decide where we want to put them on the level. And then have tiers underneath, so when new ones come up, they fall in tier 1, 2, or 3. It'd be pretty simple to do.
I don't wanna make it more complicated, but just another idea, looking through some of these, they had the tiers, and then that was like the base cost, and then they had like, please check all of the other things you would need.
Right. Yep.
And then there was additional, we could do something similar, we could have a free tier for neighborhood block parties, we could base it off of maybe size of the event, like number of expected attendance or something. So if a block party, you know, you're gonna have, I don't know, less than 20 or 30 people, maybe that is free. If you don't check any of the boxes below, and the boxes below would be, you know, if you need an officer, if you need a, you know, I don't know what else, you know, you charge for picnic tables, space, all that stuff, yeah.
I'd pay for
You want to trust me to dunk tank? Yeah, $500.
Mind of
Pay for all the. Well, do you think you have enough to maybe come up
I
with some
can take a
options?
stab at this. Yeah, I think I can get something put together.
I feel like we didn't give you a lot, but
Well, I know
we
what,
always have more conversations.
like, I know when I was looking at it, I know there was something that we read about like how many truck runs they have to do. And they would
Yeah.
charge like per truck run or load of stuff they were taking there. There was something in there when I was like reading it, like that was like a weird way to bill, but made some sense.
Well, see, here's where I see
But
that
is
will
that too
play.
weird?
If we get to where we want to with Xander Park being a key tourism thing where we have art fair on the creek and maybe Oktoberfest or Taste of Cross Plains on the creek, where you have events like that. That's the kind of stuff that you would have because it's wear and tear on the path that's there. You know, the parking stuff. I don't think we're there yet, but I certainly think in the future. This is something that will become a bigger thing, so I don't have a problem having a skeleton thing right now. But a lot of these are for communities that actually have almost an event every weekend or so. We're not there yet. It wouldn't surprise me at some point we get there in the next decade. That would be where we'd want to get.
Especially our existing events.
No, no, go ahead.
Especially our existing events, like the Lions, the Chamber, the Legion, they do an amazing job volunteering, and I think that's why we're always good, like, because they're doing all the truckloads in the VI truck. I think it's a good point to start it simple and easy, and then let it have room for it to build and be specific.
Right, well, and to build on that, I also want to encourage people to want to hold events.
Right,
That's the other thing I wanna think about is how to keep it easy so that someone who's new to it isn't so overwhelmed that they just love it.
Yeah, great point.
Well, right, the permit fee being so complex that they just choose to ignore. I have to pay $150 for this, oh, it's not.
And if there's 8 events, we would charge 50, that's $400, $400 ain't gonna make or break us with the job.
Well, not at all, that's what I'm even like
Not really.
need to do, but good to think about doing.
Why don't you take a look, get a crack and maybe give us, 2, 3 options,
Sure.
and then we can just modify those and come up with something.
Sounds good.
I think we could think about that, maybe we could even get, like, we had said we are gonna pause and like kind of get measurements of like how much it costs for our resources. But maybe Bobby just like average time to like process one of these or something. Like, we did something similar for sewage utility, right? We said it, takes about an hour of staff time, that's about this. Like, I don't know how much goes into like someone having to read through this and like, is there back and forth with one person a lot and, do you have to, all that stuff, like maybe that's just what we look at for a base.
All right, $10 fee for administrative cost.
If we were looking for a number to like kind of guide us for like the initial cost, I don't know.
I could see that.
I remember one of these had a discount or something if your event is like the same every year, and so like the review is like quicker because you know what they need and what they don't need, and I don't remember which one it was, but there was one where yeah, it's like if you basically turn in the same exact application you did last year, you get a discount or something.
Maybe just like an initial charge. and
Yeah,
then
I
after that-
think because so many of our events are the same every year, like, Mike knows what he's looking for, he knows what they need for the parade.
Yeah.
What the Hill and Valley needs, so. Sure. It doesn't take as much administrative time to process one.
All right, we're good?
Okay, yeah,
All right, future agenda items.
As a
Michael.
one, I just would like us to investigate the cost of street signs in the village and possible ways to save money there and possible policies that we could possibly look at concerning the said street signs.
All right. Anything else? All right, do I have a motion for adjournment? So moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thank you very much. Have a good holiday season, everybody. See you in the new year. Yeah.